The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is a beloved game for its groundbreaking gameplay and graphics of the time. Its sequel, on the other hand, is praised for changing the formula, but also disregarded for that same reason. Time is a tricky construct in the human mind, as I feel is often fear-inducing by just how fast it can go if you let yourself get lost in it, and that is just what happens in this game. I'll explain the main mechanic of the game. When Link finds the Ocarina and plays the Song of Time, he returns at 6 AM on the first day, of which there are 3 days to complete the game. If he doesn't play the song before 72 hours, the game is over and all progress is lost since the last time the song was used. A real-time countdown is used when only 6 in-game hours remain. Now, I won't lie, I am a little biased to this game as my favorite game in the entire series of The Legend of Zelda, Minish Cap holding a close second place. I put many hours in as a kid trying to solve all the townsfolk's troubles as the moon progressed ever closer to the town, and was incredibly frightened and confused when I first saw the timer begin to tick down on the final day. Obviously, I was obliterated by the moon on that same try. Now, to me, an added timer that counted down till the world ended made me feel a completely different vibe than I had when I would play Ocarina of Time. As a kid, Ocarina and many other games felt like they had the highest stakes in the world, but when I played Majora's Mask, the timer and the moon really showed off the high stakes. Having less time to mess around and do everything made me realize that every second counted. You can definitely feel the stakes now over Ocarina, where you can mess around for hours before getting to the task at hand. To me, this made fighting the final boss way less important, while in Majora, if you couldn't save the world fast enough, you got a scene that showed its destruction. Shigeru Miyamoto and Yoshiaki Koizumi came up with the story that became the basis of the complete script written by Mitsuhiro Takane. Shigeru and Yoshiaki created the 3-day system to make the game more compact, while still providing deep gameplay. This is what they did to differentiate the two games and give a whole different experience from the first. Now, this is where the biggest problem people have with the game begin, and is different from my own opinion. People dislike the timer, and I can understand why. The main complaints are people wanting video games to distract themselves from real-life issues, the difficulty, and general repetitiveness. For the first issue, having to keep time and making sure you have enough time is a big deal in this game. If you miss the timing of an event while doing something else, you have to redo the entire quest, which also goes in line with general repetitiveness. Difficulty-wise, I can understand as well, because I sure as hell didn't beat the game until many years after I had originally started it. I feel that is a staple of many cryptic games of this nature. I do believe it still falls in line with the formula of most Zelda games though. All in all, the biggest scrape is repetitiveness, but to actually finish the game, you only need to beat the main dungeons. The side quests only need to be done once, and then you have the item from them. You don't even need to beat all the dungeons in one 3-day cycle, but it is possible and is kinda required in order to get the Great Fairy Sword. But again, that's a side thing, not required to beat the game. I'm going to go a little deeper into the mechanics of the game. Now, like I said, the game is fixed to a 72-hour clock, and this is where the gripes actually come in. It's 72 hours in-game, but 54 minutes in real life. I'm going to put a little comparison thing up, but 1 in-game hour equates to 45 seconds in real life, and so forth. That seems like nothing at all, which I understand, but there are easy ways to get around this timer as you have actual control of time in this game. Right when you get the Ocarina, you learn the Song of Time, but you also learn another song, the inverted Song of Time. You can learn how to play it from Dancing with the Scarecrow, but it isn't required. This song slows down the speed at which the in-game clock counts down, extending the 3-day cycle by approximately 3 times its normal length. Another comparison, both thanks to Curious-Boo on GameFAQs. Now, 1 hour is equal to 2 minutes and 15 real-life seconds, which is a massive boost. I wanted to show some quick times for speedrunning the game, which I know most casual players are unable to do, but I would suggest that you could multiply the times by 8 to get the same results. The any percent run, which to the layman means getting through the game as fast as possible using any means necessary, usually involving glitching through segments or even the entirety of the game, depending on the game, is held by Ki9698 at 24 minutes 50 seconds. Casual players would generally never get close to this time, but any percent glitchless is a completely different story, held by Ragan at 2 hours 45 minutes 31 seconds. This still isn't doable by most people, but around 20 hours is generally doable when you've gone through a couple cycles and start understanding the game a bit more each time. This is more to show that the game is very much doable in a decent time, and a testament to the players who can do this. Not having enough time as a complaint for this game is understandable but unfounded considering the facts I explained, as well as having the ability to actually control time and fix your mistakes, as well as, in all honesty, the game only gives an illusion of time. As long as you play the Song of Time before the 72 hours up, you keep all that you gain through the cycle anyway. I also want to do some research on how humanity perceives time, and found a couple things to go hand in hand with the feeling of the game. In a Boston Globe article by Cy Montgomery on June 22nd, 2015, said, "Some researchers say that time is an abstract notion only humans can comprehend." William Roberts, animal cognition researcher, says animals are stuck in time, living, as the Buddhist exhort us all to do, only in the moment. An excerpt from the book The Timekeeper by Mitch Albom had this to say about time. "Try to imagine a life without timekeeping. You probably can't. You know the month, the year, the day of the week. There's a clock on your wall or the dashboard of your car. You have a schedule, a calendar, a time for dinner or a movie. Yet all around you timekeeping is ignored. Birds are not late. A dog does not check its watch. Deer do not fret over passing birthdays. Man alone measures time. Man alone chimes the hour. And, because of this, man alone suffers a paralyzing fear that no other creature endures. A fear of time running out." This game holds a special place in my heart as my favorite Zelda game. The weirdness and the triumph I felt while playing through the game to completion was extremely rewarding. I believe the only thing I didn't get in the game was the Great Fairy Sword and a couple of hearts. And generally, I just love the feeling of playing this game, as it generally made me scared and happy. You already heard how much I praised the timer as well, so yeah. That was my little bit addressing why I feel the timer is actually a great addition and helped Majora's Mask feel like its own game instead of being a copy-paste of Ocarina of Time. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.